Middlesbrough are your leaders over in the Championship, despite taking a backward step this past weekend. Stoke, of course, moving up to second spot to join them in the automatics. But what will go on this coming match day, we're going to get into that and much more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video today. We're taking a look. I'm actually number 6, that's right, in the Championship, and we'll get to it in a second. If you're new, where you been, smash your subscribe. You want some show for Blackburn Rovers, Championship, World Football. We're going to all hear under one rooski. That's right. It is still an interesting looking top 6, and don't get me started on the relegation zone, of course. But the biggest news this past week is the return of Chris Wilder, of course, taking over the reins for Ruben Celes. Rock bottom of the table, and of course looking forward now to the old geezer back in charge. Will Chris Wilder get off to a winning start? We'll take a look at that, of course, and more in a second. If you're new, where you been, hit the old subscribe, boys and girls. So we're going to get into it right here, right now, by reviewing the last round of games, including these guys. That's right. Now, these were the matches last time around, of course. My predictions on the left, the real deals on the right, and then I'll bring you back up to date with the Super Brewski. So kick it all off with a trip to Portman Road, and this was it. This was the final nail in the coffin there. 5-0 winners, Ipswich Town over Sheffield United. I went with the 2-0 win, not too far off it. Meanwhile, Charlton with a 1-1 score against Millwall. I went with a 2-1 win. Oxford did draw with Leicester 2-2. I went with a home win. Did back him on this one. Preston North End, though, did only draw with Middlesbrough in the end. Close, very, very close in all my picks so far. Meanwhile, Coventry only could draw with Norwich 1-1 at the Rico, or the MCBA, or whatever they call it these days. Wednesday, though, did lose to Bristol City 3-0. Stoke City with a 1-0 win over Birmingham. I think I did pretty shit, really. Was Swansea with a 2-2 score against Hull City, but I did get this one right. And I backed my boys Blackburn with a 2-1 win, but of course they only won 1-0. But of course a win's a win. Meanwhile, Derby with a 1-0 win away to West Brom. Wrexham losing to QPR, goodness gracious me. And Southampton, Portsmouth 0-0. I went with a 2-2. And that was not too bad in the end. But ultimately, pretty shit in the picks. Meanwhile, though, this is the table as I see it. Of course, Borough top the charts there, 13 points. Stoke are in second with 12. Bristol City, Leicester, West Brom and Coventry are in that top 6. Meanwhile, going down is Oxford, is Wednesday, and it is Sheffield United. My Rovers are in 16th with a win away from going up to 6th, depending on what goes on this coming weekend. But that's that. This is, of course, the Championship Prediction League. And let's take a little look at who's kicking ass and taking names. Alrighty then, folks. I've had an absolute stonker, but kicking ass and taking names is Kian Garrity. Goodness gracious me. Who's a Rovers fan? Respect. Up there with 15.5 points. Boss, who's up there with 13.5 as well. NFL Lover, also up there with 13.5. Jonesy kicking ass as well. And we'll see him in just a second. Some familiar names. We've got Raymond Reddington in the house. We've got, who else? Big Daddy, yes, Phoenix 77, Magda Gay fan, there's at least one of them out there. And yeah, I did very, very bad. I don't really want to see me. I don't even know if I'm in here, but I did. Maybe I did that bad. I didn't even put mine in there. Regardless, even if I had put them in there, it would have been shit. But regardless, we'll move on to the actual leaderboard. The situation as I see it is Jonesy kicking ass with 54 points. Ruda up there alongside him in second box. Up to 15 spots to 3 is Stargazer coming out of nowhere there. Meanwhile, another big mover is Haven't Got a Clue. It's up 18 spots to number 5. Wow, wow, wee, wow. But it could all change very, very soon, so don't get too excited. But of course, if you want to get involved, the link should be on the screen right about now. That's right. That's the link. Get involved. Free, free, free. I don't even get anything out of it. It's just a pain in my ass, but I love it. Anyway, let's get going. Of course, I'm going to slide over here. I'm going to do a little bit of edit. I'm running out of space here. Bloody hell. That just takes up all of my bloody space. But anyway, we're going to get in the deep end and look forward to the next round of games, which all kicks off this coming Friday, coming at you at Middlesbrough. That's right. They're taking on West Bromwich Albion at the Riverside. Rob Edwards' boys are top of the pops here. 13 points for them. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. Against West Brom and Ryan Mason, 2 defeats in the last 5 for them. They 5th. With 10 points. They played 32 times, these two clubs, since 1993. 16 wins for Borough. We've got 9 wins for West Brom and 7 draws between the two sides. Coming into this, though, they last played out the Riverside. 2-0 winners for the Borough back in January 2025. In fact, Middlesbrough winning 3 in the bounce against West Brom and keeping 3 clean sheets as well. Borough, though, on the back of that 2-2 away draw to Preston. West Brom on the back of that 1-0 loss to Derby County. Of course, last away match for the Baggies. There was a 1-0 win for Stoke. Last home match for the Borough was also a 1-0 win for them over Sheffield United. Bookies odds, I'll go with the Borough on this one. I think I'm also leaning towards them right now. 2-1 win. And they look the real deal right now. Of course, Rob Edwards give them a sort of that comforting managerial stuff going on to kind of assure them that they're in the right place. Meanwhile, Birmingham City, though, they're up against Swansea. That's right. Come at the St Andrews, Birmingham under Chris Davies. They've lost 3 in the bounce in all shapes and all sizes. They sit 11th right now with 7 points. Up against Swansea and Alan Sheeran, who are unbeaten right now over the last 6. They're sitting in 7th with 6 points. Oh, sorry, with 8 points to their name. Played 17 times since 2008. 5 wins Birmingham, 4 wins Swansea. There's been 8 draws. The last 4 of the last 5 between these two sides have ended up all square. The last time a team was victorious was when Birmingham beat Swansea 4-3 out in Wales back in February 2023. But the last 2 at St Andrews have ended up 2-2. Meanwhile, Birmingham are on the back of that 1-0 loss to Stoke. Of course, that was an away game. The last home match in the league was a 1-1 win against Oxford. Swansea 2-2 win, 2-2 result against Hull. The last away match was a 2-0 win over Sheffield Wednesday. Bookies though will go with Birmingham on this one. It was a tight 0-1 this one. I'm probably leaning towards a Birmingham City victory on this one, but I'm going to go with the draw. I think Swansea just proving a little bit too difficult to beat right now. So I think Birmingham might be coming down to coming down to earth a little bit, realising it ain't going to be a cakewalk, this league at the moment. It's the Championship, of course, one of the most difficult leagues in the world. Let's go to Leicester then, as they take on Coventry at the King Power. Leicester under Martin Cufuyente's unbeaten the last 3. They sit 4th with 10 points up against Coventry. Frank Lampard winless in the last 3. Now they played 30 times since 1994. 13 wins for Leicester, 6 wins Coventry, 11 draws. They last played over at the King Power. It's a 2-1 win for Leicester back in August 2023. Leicester on the back of that 2-2 away result against Oxford. Coventry back-to-back draws for them, 1 at home and 1 away. Their away one was against Oxford. The home one was against Norwich. The bookies on this one very, very tight. They're backing Leicester, but only just. I think I'm also going to go with another draw here, 2-2 between these two sides, which of course is not the best bit of form. Meanwhile, QPR, they're taking on Stoke, of course, coming at Loftus Road. QPR under Julian Stefan after that heavy defeat a couple of weeks back now. Back-to-back wins for them. They sit 12th with 7 points. Up against Stoke and Mark Robbins, they are second. 4 wins in the last 6, and have taken on QPR 32 times since 1996. We've got 11 wins apiece, and there's been 10 draws. They last played over at QPR. It was a 1-1 scoreline back in November 2024. QPR are unbeaten against Stoke over the last 3 at Loftus Road, but that only includes 1 win and a couple of draws. Stoke, though, on the back of that 1-0 win over Birmingham. QPR on the back of that 3-1 away win to Wrexham. Bookies on this one very tight. Stoke just about edge it, but I'm going to go with a QPR victory at home to, of course, build upon that victory this past week. Meanwhile, we go to the game of the day. It is Rovers, it is Ipswich. We'll have a watch along. We'll have a preview. We might even have a vlog on this one. Of course, Rovers on the back of 2 wins and 1 defeat in the last 3. They sit 16th right now with 6 points. Up against Ipswich, the Kieran McKenna, just 1 defeat in the last 4. Of course, they played 22 times since 1993. Rovers winning 8 of them. Ipswich winning 6 of them. And there's been 8 draws. They last played at Ewood. It was a 1-0 win for Ipswich. That's back in March 2024. Coming into this, though, Rovers on the back of that 1-0 away win to Watford. Ipswich on the back of that 5-0 win over Sheffield United. Bookies go overwhelmingly so for Ipswich, and rightly so. They should. Rovers haven't picked up a performance or a win. Have they even scored a goal? I don't think they even scored a goal at home, if I'm quick in looking back. Okay, we did score one against Birmingham. But ultimately, our home performances have been a bit shit so far. But you know what? Football's football. It's a funny old league, and Rovers are going to win this game. They're going to win 1-0. Going to go with a 1-0 win against Ipswich Town, who everyone's going to back them because I'm deluded. Oh yes, I'm deluded. Bring it on then, boys. Meanwhile, Derby County taking on Preston, coming at Pride Park. Of course, John Eustace's boys has turned a corner right now. They are 19th with just the 5 points, but just 1 defeat in the last 4. Up against Preston and Paul Hickabout, they are 8th with 8 points, but they're winless in the last 3. Now they played 37 times since 2002. We've got 16 wins Derby, 10 wins Preston, and 11 draws. They last played over at Pride Park. It was a 2-0 win for Derby, who are unbeaten against Preston over the last 4. In fact, they've only conceded 1 goal against them in the last 4 as well. Derby, though, on the back of that 1-0 away win to West Brom. Meanwhile, Preston on the back of that 2-2 home draw against the Borough. Of course, Derby are favoured. They've got a lot of their boys back now. So they're going to be a difficult team to break down. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win Derby, and John Eustace continuing to work wonders once again at Pride Park. Meanwhile, Hull City taking on Southampton, coming at the MKM Stadium. Sergei Djurkovic just 1 win in the last 6. They sit 20th right now with 5 points. Up against Will Still and Southampton, just 1 win in the last 5. They are 15th with 6 points, and they played each other 16 times in 2005. 3 wins for the Tigers, 9 wins for the Saints. There's been 4 draws. They last played at the MKM. It was a 2-1 win for Southampton back in October 2023. Hull on the back of that 2-2 draw away to Swansea. Good result that. Southampton on the back of back-to-back draws, drawing at Watford and then drawing at home to Pompey in the South Coast Derby. The bookies' odds for this one, they'll go with Southampton. I think I'm leaning towards the Saints here. They've not been that good. They've just been difficult to beat. 2-1 winners in the end for me on this one. Let's go to the Canaries now as they host Wrexham. Under pressure. Dun, dun, dun. That's Parkinson. He's under pressure right now as Norwich will entertain them coming at you at Carrow Road. That's right. Norwich under Manning, Liam Manning, of course, 10th for the table right now, 7 points for them. Back-to-back games now without a loss up against Wrexham, coming into on the back of a defeat, but they sit 21st with 4 points. Yet to take on Norwich in recent times anyway. Norwich, though, in 10th with 7 points. Coming into on the back of that draw away to Coventry. Meanwhile, what are we looking at here? Wrexham on the back of that 3-1 loss to QPR. Bookies will go with Norwich. It's also proving a little bit difficult for Wrexham right now to get the results. And of course, bookies going with them. Goals galore between the two leading men there. Kiefer Moore's got 4 goals so far. Josh Sargent got 5. I'm going to go with Norwich here. Their home form is a bit wobbly, but they'll get it right this time. And I tell you, we're looking at sacking material soon for Phil Parkinson. Meanwhile, Pompey taking on Sheffield Wednesday, coming at Fratton Park. John Mousinho's boys are up to 9th right now. 8 points for them for the season. Unbeaten in the last 3. Up against Sheffield Wednesday under Henrik Pedersen. 3 defeats on the spin. They're 23rd with just the 1 point. They played 12 times in 2000. 3 wins for Portsmouth. 4 wins Sheffield Wednesday. There's been 5 draws. They last played over at Pompey. It was a 2-1 win for Sheffield Wednesday back in October 2024. Wednesday are unbeaten against Portsmouth over the last 6, picking up 3 wins and 3 draws. Pompey, though, on the back of a 0-0 scoreline away to Southampton to begin back-to-back clean sheets, unbeaten in at least the last 3. Up against Sheffield Wednesday, who haven't scored a goal in the last 3 matches. And all those 3 were at home. No fans there, I don't think, or very limited fans. Maybe they'll perform better on the road, but the bookies don't see it. They'll go with Portsmouth. I'm going to go with the Portsmouth victory as well, I think. 3-1 win. And yeah, Sheffield Wednesday look like they're in a bit of a right old mess. Let's go to Sheffield United. They're going to be taking on Charlton. Of course, the return of Chris Wilder. But they're coming into this rock bottom, 24th in the table. No points for them. 6 defeats on the spin up against Charlton and Nathan Jones. Winless in the last 5 right now. They've played 22 times since 1994. 11 wins for the Blades. 6 wins for the Attics. And we've got 5 draws, of course. They last played over at the Sheffield United, Bramall Lane. It was a 2-1 win for Sheffield United back in March 2017. Charlton's last victory at this place was a 2-0 win back in October 2011. They're coming into this, though, on the back of a draw at home to Millwall. Of course, Sheffield United haven't scored a goal in the last 4 matches. Goodness gracious me. So they're looking for goals big time. Bookies will back them. They're definitely backing them at the moment, heavily so. And yeah, I honestly, I think it's quite harsh on Ruben Selles. Ruben Selles would have won this game. I think he would have won. It's a bit harsh, and Chris Wilder will win it as well, comfortably. 2-0 win in the end. Into the final couple we go. Bristol City taking on Oxford. That's coming over at Thrashton Gate. Gerhard Struber's boys are 3rd right now. 11 points for the season. Just 1 defeat in the last 6 up against Oxford and the Gary Rowett. Winless in the last 5. They're 22nd with just 2 points for the season. They've been 9 times since 1993. 3 wins apiece and 3 draws, including a draw when they last played over at the Kazam. It was a 1-1 scoreline back in February 2025. However, they last played at Bristol City. It was a 2-1 win for the Robins back in September 2024. And they were on the back of a 3-0 win over Sheffield Wednesday this past weekend. Oxford on the back of a 2-2 scoreline at home to Leicester. It's actually been back-to-back 2-2 scorelines. The last away match was a loss to Birmingham. Bookies odds for this one, they'll go with Bristol City. Of course, they look good right now. They look real deal, and they're going under the radar a little bit as well. So I'm going to go with a win for them, 2-1 win to take it to the house. And then finally we go Millwall as they take on Watford in a bit of a London affair. Of course, coming at the Den. Millwall and Alex Neil, of course, sitting 13th right now, 7 points for the season, up against Watford and Paolo Palazzano. They're 17th with 5 points, coming into this on the back of just 1 win in the last 6. They played 35 times since 1993, 13 wins Millwall, 16 wins Watford. There's been 6 draws in last time around over at the Den. It was a 3-2 win for Watford, goals galore back in August 2024. This match, of course, taking place on the 22nd of September. Millwall on the back of that 4-2 penalty shootout loss to Palace in the Cup. They are out. Watford on the back of that loss against Rovers at home, of course, is the first away match since their 1-1 scoreline against Swansea. The bookies odds, we do have bookies odds. They go in favour of Millwall. Their form in the league is a little bit bubbly right now. Back-to-back games without a win. But I think they're going to win this one. 2-0 winners at the Den. It's a difficult place to go, of course it is. But that is it, guys. And if I'm right, this is what the table will look like. It'll look like this. All right, it'll be Bristol City at the top, Stoke, Leicester, Portsmouth and Coventry. Rovers into 13th, going down Sheffield United, Oxford and Wednesday at the moment. But that is that. Of course, don't forget we've got the Prediction League on Super Brew live. And until then, I'll see you soon whenever I return. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. Until then, we are done.